fire kills people, groupthink doesn't. Now I have to rethink that. Really, really important. That's something I want to stress. This presentation is this idea, it's just as deadly to not do something or go with the crowd. It's a lot harder. It was really, really hard. I had a captain afterwards come up to me. He'd been in multiple shootings, and I thought I was a complete failure for not shooting. I thought people thought I was soft or weak. I have no idea. Oakland Police Department is a very old school kind of department, right? I didn't know what people were saying about me. He said, "Kid, you did the right thing, thank God." It's like, coming from him, that meant a lot, okay? So fast forward, here's me, 2013. The San Francisco Gate took this photo of me at a bus stop, literally the same block that Tenderloin Station is at. At the time, bus stops, and they still are, I'm sure you guys see the news. Tenderloin is known, if you haven't been to the Tenderloin, Dave Chappelle has this funny Tenderloin skit about San Francisco, and he says, there is nothing tender about the Tenderloin. And he said, I've never seen people drink Starbucks and smoke crack so freely, right in front of people. And Dave's right, and it's still like that until today. If you want to go get any kind of drug in the Tenderloin, it's pretty amazing. I didn't know this. Coming from Oakland, I saw a lot of violent people, but in the Tenderloin or in SF, I dealt with a lot of crazy people who were mentally ill. And they have this, the Tenderloin's fascinating because every block has like its own like drug market. So, oh, you want to go get pills? You go to Hyde and Turk. Oh, you need crack cocaine? Go to Turk and Taylor. You want to get fentanyl? You can just go anywhere. There's anyone for that. But so here's me in 2013, and little did I know, I'm telling you, my first day in Tenderloin Station, I walk out of the station, and there's a guy in a wheelchair with a needle sticking out of his arm. And I was just like, I don't know, in Oakland where I was just coming from, like, people usually try to avoid the cops. They don't want to be seen doing drugs. He was so out of his mind. He was like, sorry. He was so just out of it, he had no idea where he was at. He was in front of the Tenderloin police station. We walked out, he was right there. And so little did I know that in 2013, my mission as a San Francisco police officer was going to be, hey, Joel, we want you to go out and curb crime and keep drugs off the street and get needles out of people's arms. Little did I know that 2021, they would actually be trying to force a needle in my arm. Didn't know that was going to happen. So October 2021, I had it filed for an exemption, filed for a religious exemption. It got approved, and then quickly it got denied. And I was given a month to go out and get the vaccine. They said, you need to go out and get the vaccine or you're going to be fired. Whew! Kind of mentioned to you guys, I'm a family man. I have 2 young boys, now 9 and 6. My wife, she doesn't work. I am the sole provider, the breadwinner. She works way more than me, by the way, being a stay-at-home mom. But point being, the finances are dependent on me. So I make about $200,000 with overtime every year as a San Francisco police officer. I'm about to lose that in a month if I don't do this. I knew where I stood. I knew what I believed in. I knew my convictions and my vocation to the world. I knew what I stood for. But boy, this was kind of heavy. You have a month. Go out and do this or be fired. Wow. Let me think about this. I even considered at one point, I won't lie, I even considered, man, maybe I should go out and get a fake vaccine card. I thought about it, but every time I thought about it, it just like wasn't even an option. I was just like, and I'm not here faulting anybody if they did it, but I was just like, I can't do that. I just can't do it. That's some fake shit. It's fake, and I can't do that. I know what I stand for, I know who I am, I know what I believe, and this is BS. I'll be honest too, I also didn't think they were gonna fire me. Because there was 2 big things. One, I had got really skilled at this thing called Title VII, which allows for religious freedoms. And I read a lot about it, and I'm like, this is illegal what they're doing. They can't do this. Secondly, they called me a direct threat to society. That's how they were going to fire me. They said I was a direct threat. And I was like, that's a joke already. I already know that's, like, give me the science. Prove it. Like, let's go to court and let's prove it. March 2021, I got fired October 2021. March 2021, they already said it didn't prevent transmission. So I'm like, how's that true? So I'm like, they're probably not going to fire me. And even if they do, it'll be like 3 months to get my job back. Well, I'm here to tell you it's been 2 years. They haven't given me my job back, okay? So I didn't know. I didn't know what was going to happen. But what I did, and I'm sure many of you faced this, I wrote down a list, because I'm like, I got to get out of my head. I wrote down a list of just pros and cons and what I had and what I was going to do. And I just asked myself just one question, like, what do you fear so much? Like, what are you really scared of? And the only thing on my list that I could really see was I was gonna lose all my money. I just bought a house. I have a mortgage, I have my kids, my pension, my benefits, all that stuff. But the only thing I could come up with was, I'm scared that I'm gonna lose all my money. And then I thought a second again, and I go, wait a second. So that's it? Like, that's all you're scared about? You get to keep your family, you get to keep your soul. They can never take that from you.
Yeah.
You get to keep your relationship with your boys, everybody's healthy? I thought, oh man, I got it, let's go. Let's fucking go. That's what I told myself. Let's go. I'm not scared anymore. Because I know I can build a business, I can always get money. Money can come, money can go, I can always find money, right? A lot of people too tell me, oh yeah, but you know it's easy for you, Joel. You were starting a health coaching business on the side. Bullshit. I'm here to tell you I still have $90,000 in credit card debt. Please don't tell me that it was so easy for me because I had been starting this thing. It was not. It was not. I was on signal threads with many officers and watching them, oh, I'm never gonna do this, and at the last second, then, I'm sorry I had to do this. I felt bad for them. I mean, they all said the same things I was saying. I have a mortgage, I have kids, I have a newborn on the way. I get it, man. I get it. But for me, it just wasn't an option. See if I can do this. Oh, cool. Okay. So right there, I want to show you that March 9th, 2023. So it took me about 2 years to even get, or a year and a half to even get any publicity or anything about this. I've been reaching out to news agencies and just trying to tell my story, like, hey, this is like important and illegal. Did anybody want to cover it? Nobody cared. Nobody wanted to cover it. You think back 2 years ago, it was not the cool thing to do. And I'm sure all of us natural health practitioners, we felt it. Like, you couldn't speak out and say, like, not even Fox News, which now you hear them and they're pretty vocal about it. But if they weren't back then, they weren't back in 2021, nobody cared. The lady who picked up my story, Melissa Rudy, matter of fact, I pitched her on a completely different story that she wanted about masks. And when I told her my story about masks and other things, she goes, oh my God, you have such a great story. We gotta tell this. I'm like, yeah, but who cares? Nobody cares. So it took me about 2 years to get anything even in the news to talk about this. And one of the things I thought was interesting too is she wrote this, I didn't write this, she said that I said, I know who I am. I thought that was a really cool headline to say that about myself. And I can remember now, because we had talked multiple times on the phone and she had reached out to me, and she goes, can you just remind me again, like why you didn't do it? Like what was your reason? I'm like, I already told you about it, and I think I was getting frustrated. Because I know from being in certain news organizations, like they take like 60 minutes of your stuff and they give you like one little blurb. So I'm like, I said, I know who I am. I told her, I know who I am. I wasn't gonna do it. It just like wasn't an option. And I guess she took that, which I thought was really cool because that's what this is all about. Like, do you know who you are? Do you know and I know this from just having a coaching business. A lot of the people I work with, whether it's weight loss or performance, I'm like, what are your core values? And they can't even rattle it off. They can't even give you one. A lot of them, it's really interesting. I'll ask them, what are your core values? Especially, you'll like this because everyone here is health oriented. Well, what are your core values? Integrity, generosity, loving, kind. And I always say, man, and these are all great core values. I'm like, those are great. Like, keep that. I go, what about health? Is health one of your core values? Every single time, guys, they go like this. No, but it should be. Like, yeah, that's why you're not doing well, because you don't even know your core values. You don't even know your mission, your vocation. You don't even know what you stand for. You don't have a North Star. So of course you don't know who you are. Of course when you get pressed to, hey, put on a mask to save your business because you want to keep making money, I get it. Or pretend like you got the COVID vaccine and show everybody a fake vaccine card so you just get on with your life and keep your practice going.